Okay, in terms of the benefits of our partnership, it was a comprehensive solution. It took care of all the entertainment assets. They were going to get more capital from us than anybody else. They would get the entertainment business off their back constantly. The French press, the New York press, the LA press was constantly bombarding them with questions about the entertainment business. There was certainty of execution. In other words, there was going to be no regulatory hiccups with us and speed of closure. There were no adverse tax consequences, so it was structured in a very attractive way. And it kept a partnership in place, which if it broke up had a multi-dollar exposure to both taxing authorities and USAI Interactive, a very diligent company. We were the only ones that were just a completely private equity bid. They could do an IPO or a spinoff, but that market's only so big. And they could probably only raise, we guessed, well, we did a lot of work on this, that they could raise only $2 billion in the market. So compared to the $13 billion we were giving them, we felt pretty good about our position. Plus, they were under an SEC investigation to go public when you're being investigated by the SEC, and you're always subject to market timing. You know, a war breaks out, you can't go public, and it required some restructuring of the BUE partnership, which ours did not. In terms of sale, the other argument is, well, then we'll just sell off the individual assets and, to the highest bidder, and that's the way to create the most value. Well, some of those assets were going to be orphaned, like music. There wasn't a buyer for music. There wasn't a buyer, ultimately, games business, and they ended up taking that off the market. And by merging with other entertainment companies, they were going in the opposite direction of what they had told the street, that they were getting out of the entertainment business. By merging those assets, they'd be going longer into entertainment. And the uncertainty of the ultimate realization of the cash proceeds. You merge, you take somebody else's stock, you don't know what that stock's going to be worth 3 to 5 years down the road. The tax leakage by selling off the individual assets, because the inside basis was very low on all these assets. They've been around for 50 years. They probably had a tax basis of, a couple $100 million, and these assets would sell for billions. And extremely time-consuming to run multiple processes trying to sell these assets. And what does that do to the people who are running the business, knowing their businesses are going to be sold? They start looking for jobs elsewhere, and they kind of take their eye off the ball, if they're human, and they all are. And it would require the restructuring of the BUE part, was a major problem. But all the other bidders were looking for specific assets. So we felt we stacked up pretty well. And just in summary of what we were pitching is they would receive over $13 billion or euros of cash and assumption of liabilities, an expedited process, equity participation with significant up would be carried about with these assets. They had no long history with these assets, would be about generating a return, so our interests would be totally aligned. For them, this transaction would increase their financial flexibility. You remember they own 40% of Sigitel. They wanted to own more of that very attractive French asset. And there were other acquisitions they wanted to make. Immediately a high creation for Vivendi shareholders. They'd get somewhere between 18 and $20 billion value in their stock price compared to the 7. Shore up their balance sheet. What does it do that from a company that's not investment grade and is investment grade overnight? What does that do to their stock price? I'm not sure exactly. Well, I'm sure it's good. How good, I don't know. Work with management with aligned interest and look smart in hedging their position, taking half the money off the table, but being with management and experienced investors. So that was how we saw it.